This video, we're talking about diving in Iceland. This is continent number 2. In Iceland, two tectonic plates meet up. The North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates. They basically meet up and they are pulling away from each other. They literally cause a fissure in the ground because there's enough room for water to come into through many glacial, ask PhD people for that kind of stuff. But it's really clear water, it's really cold water, and it's a great dive. That's my experience in diving in Europe so far. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 things. My experience, what you need to know to dive Silfra, and what are the places we should probably dive in Europe at some point. When I was doing one of my specialties that I did was dry specialty. It's something you definitely need to use in Iceland. I had the intention of going to Iceland at some point and preferred not to do my certification for the specialty when I got to Silfra, so that I could try to enjoy the dive, the actual dives, as much as possible. There are a bunch of options. There are a bunch of operators you can use. Try to contact them ahead of time so you don't waste the time in Iceland, because there's so many other cool things you could be doing in Iceland that you should probably focus on. Reached out to them. We got everything sorted. My guy kind of picked me up in the center. It's a really short dive. It's maybe a quarter mile across. It's really predefined. You walk in, easy entry, easy exit. You walk in with staircases. You don't go really deep, maybe 50 feet at the deepest. Typically, you're pretty shallow for the most part. And there are those 2 rocks, probably the most famous images of Silfra, or especially scuba diving in Silfra, that you've probably seen. It is not worth the time if you're only going to do one dive to take your own gear and everything. But on this trip, I took my mask, I took my fins, and that was about it. I didn't even take my regulator. All right, guys, so we're here in Silfra, Iceland, and we're about to dive some freezing cold water. Who else is crazy enough to do this? We got Rebecca from Wales. And what's your name, buddy? Matthias.
Hi.
And our fearless dive master, Chris. All right, we're gonna do this. Let's go. So we're all set. We do a buddy checks. Air is good. Reg, the whole 9 yard. And we get into the water, and I start to feel like my shoulder getting wet, rapidly getting wet, and that just spread around my body. I'm like, nah, there's something off here. So I get the dive guy to come around and check my suit to see if I did it right, or check just to see what's going on. And they're like, oh yeah, you missed a spot. Zip, 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 gets it all the way in. Great. Now, with that being open originally, I still had cold water in my suit. The temperature outside that day was 36 degrees, so that's right above freezing point in Celsius, and 39 degrees for the water, a couple degrees above freezing point. So the dive starts. You go in, it's pretty clear, it's amazing. Honestly, if you're not seeing bubbles, you look like you're floating in space for the most part. There's a little bit of algae on the rocks or in the water, but it is very clear. You pretty much see all the way to the end of wherever the fissure makes a corner, and that's how good the visibility is. You get to a space, a little crack. It's fairly open. You can go through it easily. You don't have to meander too bad. But it's probably the most famous photo op spot on that dive. It's maybe 30 feet deep. At this point, you basically go down, you stay shallow for a while, go down to about 50, then come up to about 30. Then you go through this part where you're touching 2 huge boulders. One of them basically extends all the way to, California. The other one goes all the way to where Genghis Khan would have been today. If you don't take a picture there and you dive Silfra, forget it. We don't care. You haven't gone diving in Silfra. So make sure you take a camera with you. Give that to the guide. Give that to your buddy. Take that shot. Make it legit. Make it legit.
So here, we did it. We survived the frozen Silfra Fissure. Slightly, yeah, just a little bit.
For the most part, you're going to Iceland for a bunch of other things. You're going to walk in glaciers. You're going to check out geysers. You're going to cross-country road trip, or whatever it is you do. Eat some sheephead and some rotten shark. These are delicacies. Actually, I don't know what they're called, but they're delicacies in Iceland. And you can walk onto a frozen lake.
Frozen solid. This is a crater. Well, this is Black Sand Beach in Iceland. Yes, the sand is black.
Diving in Europe is not particularly high on my list, but if I were to go back to scuba dive in Europe, it'll probably be Malta. Really cool wreck where you get to penetrate the wreck, and there are really cool photo ops. Now this is, 20% because of the dive experience, 80% mostly for the photo op, where you get to go around the different layers, the different levels of the cabins in the wreck. And at some point, you are basically kind of floating through a staircase or a series of staircases. And those are really hot shots, man. Those are really cool shots. But that's my piece. Until next time, thank you for your support. Check it out. Check out all the videos in this series. Again, if you like it, grab the like button, throw it in a dry suit, flush it down the sea of comments, see if it floats, and come back later. Peace.